I'm Arthur, but my mom calls me Lil A, as my dad's name is Arthur too. I was born in Seattle, but raised in San Diego. When I was a teenager, Reagan was in office talking about trickle down economics and don't do drugs. In our neighborhood that we called the court, there were easily 20 kids that used to play basketball, street football, talk music, talk about girls. Most of us went to a predominantly black high school. When we were old enough, we used to party together. We still took time to read and write and study. I was a fan of history, and in the 11th grade, one of my teachers let me borrow his book on the Palace of Versailles. It led me to create a list of places to see and goals to attain. This list gave meaning to my work, washing dishes in downtown San Diego. Meanwhile, to fund the Contra War, Reagan agreed to have illegal drugs sold in Southern California to help pay for the war. This eventually caused increased crime, mass incarceration of black youth and young adults, family disruption, reduced employment prospects leading to economic devastation. Even the education of children suffered in predominantly black schools. The drugs flowed in and the money flowed out of the black community. I remember Dad's look when detectives asked me if I was involved in a series of robberies. I knew about it, but I would not say so. I didn't know it at the time, but the influx of drugs were killing the American dream for us. I loved the vision I had in my life. I knew I had to make a change. Did I want to be a thug, a pimp, or a pusher? Did I want to become an alcohol or drug addict? Could I be a respected businessman and scholar? But I couldn't be lazy. I had to work hard. I knew I had to escape or I would die. To be successful, I had to sacrifice drugs and hanging out with the best friends that I had. Second, I had to keep working hard and learn new skills. The third thing I had to do was join the Navy, good people, training, and pay. Fourth, no excuses and enjoy the journey. I met an Australian. We got married shortly after. It worked out for a while. I got out the Navy after 6 years. We packed our bags and we moved to Australia. I worked in a warehouse, then purchasing, and eventually in the public sector. I love Australia. It was clean, safe, and for the first time in my life, race was not a major issue. I found freedom that I never had in America. I bought my first house. Over time, I started making over 100 grand a year. We moved to a bigger house in a nice part of town. Life was real good. I was invited to speak at conferences in Australia and overseas. First, I had to overcome a fear of public speaking. Although I didn't have a degree and still worked in the public sector, I was offered positions at two universities and gave classes locally and internationally. A professor seen my work and offered me a path to get a master's degree and then a PhD. Thanks, Peter. You changed my life. Through all this, I became financial literate and started investing. A key driver for me is to create generational wealth and to inspire my children to be their best. I was working hard, but always made time for the family. However, the marriage was failing and I filed for divorce. I was free, still young, decent looking, good job, good mind, good heart. By this time, I was working on my PhD and kept being promoted. I found a beautiful lady, and she is now my wife. She believed in me and in us, and the feeling was mutual. With her quiet support, I got my PhD, the first in the family to have a master's and to become a doctor. Being a doctor changed a lot of things. I recall the days in high school that I never thought this was possible, but I put in the work, made the sacrifices, and the love and support I got in return from my wife and children, I can't measure. We do have some awesome kids. This is my big, beautiful sister, Tina. She remains a strong supporter and an unwavering force in my life. Thank you. The guiding star was my mom. She taught me right from wrong, resilience, and unconditional love. She prayed for me and trusted my judgment. She still lives on the court, and I love her much. I traveled the world. From my list from 11th grade, I visited the beautiful Vatican in Italy. My wife and I walked the same path used by the gladiators and Caesars at the incredible Colosseum in Rome, Italy. My favorite statue in the world, the Thinker, in Paris, France. I still remember my first visit to Sydney, Australia. I got off the plane, booked into my room, and immediately went to the Opera House. The cells that form the roof are made of thousands of tiles. I was always a fan of Michelangelo and seeing the statue of David on a visit to Florence, Italy. These pictures do not do the statue justice. I have been fortunate to visit Paris, France a few times, and as a fan of Leonardo da Vinci, it was great to see the timeless Mona Lisa. While in Paris, I went to the Eiffel Tower. It is pretty magnificent. I've also traveled around the United States and was impressed with the beauty, history, and power of the White House. We also had the chance to visit the wonderful Taj Mahal in Agra, India. Always heard about its beauty, it is. But the one place that really started the whole journey was the dream of visiting the Palace of Versailles. It was at the top of my list, but it was just a dream, just a vision. I focused on making choices to make my dreams come true. It is true. Success also breeds haters. Even some that I thought were supporters grew to despise me. But hey, that's all part of the journey. In contrast, although they never met them, they love actors, singers, athletes, but they are critical of those they know turning their dreams into reality. I have been called selfish, arrogant. Most of this sad chatter is happening behind my back. The fact is, life is good. Few black men have accomplished what I have. I just keep moving forward, appreciating those that support us, and I do my best to support them. I still have work to do, and haters will keep hating. Even with all the weapons from the drug money, the Contras didn't win the war. I'm fortunate I made some difficult choices, and so far, so good. The damage of the drugs still linger and will for generations. That war continues.